In June 2012, Meridian Energy announced it was about to begin construction of a 26-turbine wind farm northwest of Wellington City. The project was the idea of a group of farmers who formed a company 20 years ago with the goal of harvesting wind on their land.
Back in 2000, Windcorp, which is the group of landowners that were looking to develop wind on the Mill Creek property, well, they basically put out a request for a tender, or they wanted to see what developers were available to look at developing that wind farm. So Meridian was invited to put in a proposal. We were fortunate enough to be selected. So it's been a journey from there to where we've got to today. At this stage, we're now in the construction. We have gone through the development of the site and the technical aspects of it. We've worked through the RMA, which included a resource consent as well as an appeal. We've gone through the business case, and now the exciting bit is that we're actually constructing the project, which is really cool. Wind is really important. I mean, wind is just what the project, it's about energy, it's about electricity. So it's got to blow like a bugger, and it's got to blow like a bugger for a long, continuous period. It's just the consistency and the strength of the wind is what we're looking for. Wellington has got an exceptional wind resource. Just its location, so you're between the North and South Island, you have the Southern Alps, you've got the landmass here of Wellington. Our prevailing westerly, norwesterly winds, they come through the gap of the Cook Strait, and it has a speed up effect. So the wind, as it squeezes through that gap, it picks up. So that's why we get such exceptional wind speeds here. You know how we just had the storm, how'd it go for verifying that data? Did it work out all right?
That mast, yeah, it was actually pretty good in verifying it.
Well, that's been quite cool, really. So what sort of speeds?
Up around 200k gusts were recorded, so that's pretty windy.
That's pretty serious wind. And from all projects have their challenges. Mill Creek was no exception. Once we've assessed that the site is suitable for development, there's a couple of key criteria that we need to look at. Can we get the equipment in? Can we plug the wind farm into the grid? How easy is it to get around on the site? Complex terrain. So the first obstacle that we had on Mill Creek was the ability to actually get into the site with the equipment. The local roading network is very narrow, very windy, complex road. And these tower sections can be 30, 40 metres long, blades 50 metres long depending on the project. So you could not use the local network for roading. One of the guys came up with this idea of looking at Spicer Forest, working with the Porirua Council and the landfill guys, and putting a road through there which joined up to the North Aharia Valley Road. And from there, you basically had the genesis of being able to take the project forward with access. The wind farm noise that comes from these turbines is low. We basically need to maintain below 40 decibels. And then the way that the standard is developed, that as the wind speed increases, so does your background noise, etc. A lot of folk around here had a concern about what they believe could be a valley situation where the noise from the turbines up the top would come down in the valley where there was no wind speed. But we've worked through that, we've monitored it closely over the last 3 or 4 years and pretty happy with how it's going. We're here on West Wind now. This is a 62 turbine project. We put enough energy from this to power about 70,000 homes. So the technology that we're seeing here is exactly what will be going on Mill Creek. A similar turbines, similar arrangement with the way the turbines are connected, the roading, slightly different in the sort of transmission aspects, but in general, this is exactly what Mill Creek will turn out like.
This is 1,100 acres, well it's 900 acres here and the 200 acres of the original family farm. When we bought it, 3,000 stock units was a viable one-man unit. Now I think it's probably 5,000. This place will never run 5,000 stock units. Good years we'll do 4, just chasing the margin sort of thing a little bit. But what this wind farm does really is it just jumps us up past that 5,000, nearly doubles your stock units, and so if you look at it like that, that's all you're doing. Off peak it only takes 20 minutes to get to town, and yet you come over the hill and There's still a lot of land being farmed out here. You know, we're lucky that 4 other farms involved in this, and you know, there's still a couple of other big blocks, Boom Rock at the north, and pretty rare, I think, close to a capital city. Today is, you know, it's a pretty unbelievable day for up here, but I think all the testing showed it's one of the highest winds, you know, the best wind zones in the world. And you know, and look, this country dries out, and you know, we needed to diversify really, and I think at that stage we were in a drought. 100-year drought, and then I think 2 years later we had another 100-year drought. You know, so it was really just about trying to make something work for a long term. You know, and I mean, this at my stage of life now, I guess it's probably come a little bit late, but you know, whoever takes over, it's a 40-year contract, so you know they're going to have a reasonable farm here for another 40 years. Damon was quite good yesterday. We walked through what's sort of happening here, trying to sort out this fence around those yards and that. But there's Greg Best, Warren Bryant, Ward Callaghan, and us. And so that's basically all the land from Boom Rock down to here, south. Gradually, the subdivision will probably take over, I guess. So now we've sort of tied the rules up a little bit so that it's not too easy. I'm quite excited. It's sort of, you know, what you wish for, and it's here now, and you sort of, you go through stages that when it's on the neighbour's place, you're excited, and when they're on your place, you're scared. And so it's just, we're just getting through the scared stage, and now the restoration part's happening, and you start to sort of appreciate it really. Yeah, no, so it's good.
To give you a bit of an idea, generally a project, its footprint's about 1% of land holding. So that means that the farmers are able to operate in and around the wind farms, the stock have no problems. One of the landowners on one of our projects tells me that in the summertime, the sheep will be in the shadow of the turbine to get out of the sun, so they just move around with there. So look, the animals adapt to it, you get great infrastructure, the roading, fences, gates, all that stuff has to be upgraded and maintained for the life of the project. So it's a great win-win situation for the farmers. For the landowners themselves, having another alternative revenue like wind farms is really good because it offsets the seasonality, whether it's dry or wet, and it just means that they've got some income that is dependable, and it's really bankable for them from a management and a farm operation.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.